Hey everyone, welcome to How to Retire on Time, a show that answers your questions about all things retirement, including income, taxes, Social Security, healthcare, and more. This show is an extension of the book How to Retire on Time, which you can grab today on Amazon or by going to www.howtoretireontime.com. My name is Mike Decker. I'm the author of the book How to Retire on Time, but I'm also a licensed financial advisor, insurance agent, and tax professional, which means when it comes to financial topics, we can pretty much talk about it all. Now, that said, please remember this is just a show. Everything we hear should be considered informational, as in not financial advice. If you want financial advice, well, just request your wealth analysis from my team today by going to www.yourwealthanalysis.com. With me in the studio today is Mr. David Franson. David, thanks for being here today.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
And it's a special day.
It is.
It's our 100th episode. Can you believe that?
It happened fast. Very fast.
So instead of taking questions today and really talking about things, this is a special episode only for our podcast listeners.
Okay.
We're going to be reminiscing about things we've talked about, questions we've received, things we've just seen in our day-to-day. But we've also got a few things we're going to be giving away as well. So for those who stick around till the end, we've got 2 gifts that we're just giving away.
Man.
And it's not like one person gets it. It's everyone that texts a special word to a special number will receive some fun things.
So this is a very special episode.
Yeah, but let's get started. So David,
Yeah.
I want to start with you if that's okay.
Let's do it.
And
Yeah.
this is the unfiltered, unproduced.
Yep.
It might sound a little bit different because we just kind of woke up today and said, wait,
Yeah.
that's 100. Let's just record something on the fly.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. So, and I've got the effects button right here in case we don't even transition. Let's have some fun with this. But
Okay.
David, you came kind of in the Social Security healthcare background. You had a securities license years ago,
A long time ago.
but that was just after college.
Yeah.
And then you went into the more healthcare space, and now I brought you back to the financial planning space. We've done 100 episodes now, this being the 100th. What are some big takeaways, things that you realize, just observations from your side,
Sure.
being here in the studio, behind the scenes, all of the above?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So I think the one of the big takeaways that I guess a blind spot, you could say, the difficulty of, and maybe it's not too difficult, maybe for some people it is, but you've made the point that we have to transition from just like everyday people into like our own personal financial advisor when we'd want to retire, right?
Yeah.
Like we are expected to know all this stuff. Like, okay, you're retired, buddy. Good luck. You've got some money in the 401k. Now what, right?
Yeah.
And so I had never thought about it that way. I was sort of, I guess I just like fed into like the marketing, whatever. You max your 401k contribution and then you take it out at retirement and all is well, right? That's it. It's black and white. You take out your 4% or whatever and there you go.
Yeah, it's much more complicated than that.
And there's been no like we haven't been educated about market cycles. We are always taught.
Are you talking about the flat market, or did you know about the before you started working here and we started doing the show? Did you know about the market crash every 7 or 8 years?
No,
And you didn't know about the flat market either.
I had never heard that before.
Interesting.
So yeah,
And you had a securities license for a big company.
Yeah,
taking calls in.
I did, and flat markets were not anything that we ever talked about. I mean, we all hear about, okay, bull market, bear market. So there are a few ups and downs, but we're always taught that the average, right, there's always a return.
Yeah, and by the way, for those who don't know what the term means, bull market or bear market, it's that bulls, when they attack, strike up. Bears, when they attack, strike down.
Right.
Such a weird analogy.
Yes, it is.
I remember as bull has a U in it, so bulls are up markets because a bear doesn't have a U in it.
Okay.
But that's where the
Whatever
term comes
works.
from. Yeah, bull market. This industry is so full of jargon that's just, I think, intended to confuse people into making decisions they don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So flat markets, never heard of it until now. Taxes, like you never think about, we all know we pay them, right? But you never thought about how that could affect, in retirement. I never considered that once.
That you could potentially be more efficient with it.
Yeah.
Did you think before we started doing this show that the zero tax bracket was the best tax bracket? Like if you could just get there, that would be the dream.
Yeah, I mean, like the thought, like the idea of paying no taxes. That's like so, I don't know. It's like exciting and like you're getting away with something. Like a zero tax bracket.
Yeah, it's kind of a greed.
Yeah,
What are the 7 deadly sins?
greed has got to be in there. Gluttony. What else? You got to watch that movie with Kevin Spacey and Brad Pitt. And
What one's that? You're the movie guy.
it's called Seven, right?
Is it called 7? So it's about
Yes.
7 deadly sins.
Yes.
Okay.
And spoiler alert: Gwyneth Paltrow's head is in a box.
Jeez.
So we got a dark turn here. Sorry on our 100th episode, but
So okay, tax planning.
tax planning.
You didn't really. It never clicked.
No.
The idea of the result was nice, but getting there, you didn't realize the price you'd have to pay.
Right.
You've always got to pay the piper.
Yes. Sort of what else? When to file Social Security? Like, do you file as soon as you're eligible or do you wait till 70? There's that whole big space in between there. And what's right for you? You know, again, never considered it. I always just thought, well, I don't know, cross that bridge when I get into it. No planning, no thought of it. I didn't even realize that you could get a different benefit each month if you wait longer to file. Yeah.
Just things you don't really think about
Yeah.
in your younger. And for the people listening, and if you're in your mid 50s or 60s, you've probably been receiving the Social Security statements. You're probably more aware of this. But these are things to think about earlier on in life too.
Yeah.
So for the business owner, for example, if you're using the LLC that files as an S corp, take the minimum wage, okay, and then you have the profits, you're basically going to have a smaller Social Security benefit because you're lowering your FICA tax, which is a tax efficiency for the present, but could be an inefficiency later if Social Security sticks around. And I know the argument too. The Social Security is kind of some people call it a Ponzi scheme. It's not literally a Ponzi scheme. It's a social service
Yeah.
to help those who maybe didn't make as much money into it. So it's not an investment. You don't want to pay as much FICA tax to try and get maximum money back. It's just you're going to have less Social Security to depend on later on. These are things that people don't always think about.
Right.
There's always a consequence to the action that was taken.
Yes.
So, yeah. By the way, the 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth.
Oh.
And I think every one of these has a cost or a price against you. So
Yeah.
if you're prideful, you believe you've got all the answers, that it's easy,
Yep.
you've got it figured out, you'll probably have to pay a price for that in one way or the other. Greed, taking too much risk,
Yeah.
thinking that you've outsmarted the market, you can time that. It's
Yeah.
when times are greedy, you want to be fearful. And when times are fearful, you want to be greedy. But people have a hard time with that. Lust, the uncontrollable or excessive desire of, I would say, pleasure in general. So in your earlier life, I don't know if you think about this much. I mean, you're pretty frugal. You've got your I's dotted, T's crossed. And just from a
Yeah.
personal level, I've seen you make good decisions. But
Oh, thank you.
but some people want to excessively go out. Younger people want to go on excessive vacations because they're young and they want to live their life. There's a price for that. That lust for a life that you can't afford has huge consequences later on. And then I've had so many people come to the office and say, yeah, I've lived a great life. I'm 57 years old now. Now, how do I start saving for retirement?
Oh.
Well, hold on. It's that lust, that greed. I mean, these are things, envy, the idea that you're supposed to live the quality of someone else's life when they sacrificed and you don't want to. These are the things that really have significant consequences that they're so subtle that I don't think people really realize it. Anyway, any other just thoughts
Yeah.
on the show?
So
We didn't really prepare anything in advance for this.
No.
It just
we're just going off the cuff here.
just having some fun.
But I can lay some more stuff on you. Annuity. I'd never heard that word before. Didn't know what that was. I
The
think
swear word of the industry.
yeah. Actually, I think the first time I heard it was when my grandparents died and my mom got their annuity, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And I didn't for years didn't know what that means, and it took me even months of hearing you talk about it before I think I finally have a grasp.
It's the securities industry spends so much money trying to get you to hate it, and the insurance money company spends so much money trying to get you to love it. And it's like whichever echo chamber you're in is what your opinion's going to be. It's not objective.
Right.
It's like, how do you feel about hammers?
Well, in Bluey, they go to Hammer Barn. They go
Do they really?
do all their shopping. Yeah, let's go to Hammer Barn.
Hammer Barn?
Yeah.
For those who don't know what Bluey is, it's a kid's cartoon show. It's quite
And
brilliant.
by now, who doesn't know who it is? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
People that don't have kids
Yeah.
or people that don't know their grandkids watch this.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway. But yeah, it's
Love hammers, by
everything's a tool.
Yeah.
And each tool falls in the spectrum of risk versus reward. And is it solving a certain problem? Nothing can do everything well,
the way. Yep.
but people want that magic investment,
Mm-hmm.
the mysterious, perfect thing that solved all of their problems. And it's so insatiable.
Right.
It's so insatiable that I've seen it ruin people's lives.
Mm.
These are the stories back from my father worked in the financial services space, still does actually, for years and years and years. And the stories he'd say about people that just couldn't let go for control reasons or trust issues, they put it all on themselves. And then 2008 rolls around, or it was
Ooh.
2000. I remember hearing about these stories as a kid,
Uh-huh.
right? Going, teenager, I guess, but of people that just couldn't let go, didn't understand the risk they were taking, and they had to go back to work. They couldn't stay
Ooh.
retired because they kept everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about that in other future shows.
Yeah.
Any other just general takeaways, things that you kind of realized?
Yeah. You preach, if that's the right word, a lot about the having some principle protected, like
The reservoir.
the reservoir strategy. Like it's just, the more I hear about it from you, the more I realize like it's so good to be able to weather the aforementioned, flat market, bear, bull market. If you have the reservoir, you can just sleep good at night because there's a certain percentage of your assets that can't go backwards.
Yeah, it's that whole greed versus, are you principle based, or are you trying to squeeze everything out
Yeah.
in that risk you're taking? But the reservoir strategy is something that's applicable to really everyone. So people talk about having an emergency fund.
Yeah.
Well, what if you burn through the emergency fund in 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Where do you go next? I mean, the joke about a recession is that's when your neighbor loses their job. A depression's when you lose your job.
Uh-huh.
And that's when the markets are down. So what are you going to do? Accentuate losses and hurt your retirement because you didn't have some principal protected accounts?
Yeah.
Younger people can, if structured right, use some really cool methods to have enough protection, but I would say significant growth potential with a protected account. I'm talking specifically funding IULs, Index Universal Life, correctly. So you've covered your term life insurance, you've covered, you're adding cash to it. And if there's an emergency, you can borrow against that policy, and you don't have to worry about exaggerating your losses or dipping into your 401k. I cringe when I hear people say, yeah, we had an emergency, so we had to tap into our 401k, and they had to pay that extra 10% penalty in addition to the taxes
Right.
in a down market.
Yeah.
It's a triple hit,
Yeah.
a triple whammy.
Yeah. That'd be a triple whammy for sure.
It just these are things. It's so painful because people don't know the right questions to ask. And how can you solve a problem that you don't know exist with solutions that you don't know exist? I mean, it's just, there's so many blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm getting on my high horse. Anything else? And then I'll turn the question on me because that's only fair.
No, I think that's it. I think the biggest thing, my biggest singular takeaway was that there's a lot more to retirement than I had previously thought. Yeah. It's more than just you throw your stuff in your IRA and then all will be well. There's so much more, like the details matter, and there's so much stuff that we didn't even know. But
yeah, so here are my big takeaways. Really, from if I'm taking kind of the last 10 years of experience, but also the questions and conversations that have ensued over the last 100 episodes. The first one is, I don't think is as much of a technical issue here. Once you know these things, once you understand, and it's really easy to put a plan together, but once you understand the plan, which really can take 1 or 2 meetings to put together a generic plan, I might say generic for our terms. It's more comprehensive than most plans that we see come into our office to
Right.
verify or get that second opinion. But that's kind of the easy part. Once you bridge that gap and you can kind of see what's going on, it's easy to solve. I think some of the biggest difficulties that people experience is the behavior, the emotions. It's a hubris exercise, right? If we're going to start talking about Greek tragedies here, why does each of these stories of old have so many issues? A lot of it's pride, a lot of it's greed, a lot of it's just what I would call in the psychological term cognitive distortions.
Okay.
So it's extremely common, for example, for someone to say, I had a financial advisor and they didn't really do anything, so all financial advisors must be lazy or dumb, or I could do it as good myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, did you go on your first date to marry a spouse and say, well, all guys or all girls are lazy, boring, or uninteresting, or not attractive enough, or whatever, so I'm just going to be single my whole life? Yeah. Wouldn't there be different levels of competence? Think about shopping. If you want to buy a CD, there are some CDs that offer you 0.5% and some CDs that offer you, I think today it's like a 4% now because they're going down. So there's such a spectrum. To take a small sample size, a few experiences, and assume that the entire industry is like that is such an exaggeration of truth. But what often is really happening is, well, I could do it better than that person, so I'm going to do it myself. Okay, well, that's setting a very low bar. Well, that person can't spell, read, or write. So if I can do some basic reading and some basic writing, I must be good enough. And then drop out of school in the 5th grade. And you might be thinking I'm mean here. This isn't mean. These are, I'm defining cognitive distortions that hold people back from making mathematically, economically, and financially sound decisions because they can't let go, because they have trust issues or control issues, that they have to have this purpose and they cannot find purpose anywhere else. Do you see these absolutes that confine us?
Yeah.
It is so painful to self-correct a personal bias because you're essentially changing your reality. You have to redefine yourself, who you are. And we are hardwired, and this is a little bit nerdy of me to say, but on a subcortical level, deep in it's the limbic system. You've got your thalamus, hippocampus, and your amygdala that are really defending you from painful experiences. That's why your identity is so powerful, because you have mechanisms in your brain that are trying to prevent you from changing your identity. And so to change who you are, who your purpose is, to go through a paradigm shift is a very difficult thing. And only those who are neutral and willing to learn and willing to challenge their cognitive distortions really can heal. You can't heal, you can't become the best version of yourself if you put preferences before principles. I can't tell you how many times I can explain how an instrument works, and they say, but these are the exception. It's almost like it just goes over their head. But these are only going up. There's an expression in this industry, it only matters when it matters. That's basically saying it only matters when you've realized your cognitive distortion and that you were wrong. That you don't understand the risk associated with the potential benefit that you've been enjoying. That's my first kind of big takeaway. And then that framework that I use is principles first, preferences second. If it's not principle based, you're basically banking on the idea that you're the exception to the rule, and that the world will be kind to you. And well, the odds aren't in your favor. That's kind of like, and this is an exaggeration, but saying, well, I don't want to work, but I deserve to be wealthy, so I'll just wait until I win the lottery. The odds aren't in your favor.
No.
I don't want to work, but I'm going to make money gambling. The odds aren't in your favor.
Right.
You know, the people that come through that really have significant wealth, if I am to disclose this, the multimillionaires, some of them had great jobs. Some of them did not. But all of the people that had created a significant amount of wealth followed principles first, basic principles, and then their preferences. They were still able to be their authentic self, but they were able to be their best self. So that's the first one. The second one is the importance of following systems, not sentiment. A very common question that I get is, well, hey, can you just look over my portfolio and tell me what you think? Well, that's not a systems-based question. What you're basically doing is you're saying, hey, what's your opinion of these stocks in this current moment? You're looking for confirmation bias. And when people don't like what I have to say, sometimes they like what I have to say, sometimes they don't like what I have to say. Then they go somewhere else until they find the echo chamber that confirms their bias and they can feel good about themselves. It's not a system. If you want to do absolute return trading, that's a system. If you want to do fundamental analysis, there's a system behind it. If you want to buy and hold, that's technically a system. But you got to follow a system. Don't follow the sentiment, the emotions, because again, if you're following emotions, you're putting preferences ahead of principles. It's just a different way to say it. And then the last thing I really want to harp on, and then we'll give away some free stuff, is the fact that there's no such thing as a perfect investment product or strategy. You can't quantify and control your future. Markets are going to go up or they're going to go down, and you really don't know which one's going to happen.
And there's a lot of gurus out there, like on TikTok or wherever, proclaiming that they do have like the perfect, bulletproof strategy, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Benjamin Graham's Intelligent Investor book, what many have called the Bible of investments, I've got it in my office. Sometimes I'll do my financial scripture study.
It's very thick, I've noticed. Yeah,
it is, but it's chapter 8 and chapter 11 are the important ones. But there's a whole section about how there are certain buzzwords like it always works, or it's a proprietary system that can't fail, or blah blah blah. Run for the hills when people are saying that. There are people out there that are saying, well, I could be getting you 12% year over year. Well, no, you can't promise that, because no one knows the future of the markets. You can say something like, historically, it's averaged this, but we can't promise anything in the future. Here are the risks associated with it. And what's so interesting is the human condition wants financial professionals to sell them and get them excited about stuff, but we also hate being sold an idea to get excited about it because there's something that's just off with it. So our paradoxical, impossible human behavior wants something that we also don't want. People say, well, what should my portfolio average? About 6%. Well, isn't that kind of low? Because last couple of years I've been, making great money. Yeah, the last couple of years have been great.
Yeah.
But if you look back, what if it's not great? What if we enter into another flat market cycle? What if it's a significant crash and it takes you 4 or 5 years to recover? So this is the wisdom where people have to understand there's no such thing as a perfect investment product or strategy. Nothing does everything well. You need to understand the benefits and detriments and diversify by strategies, by investment or asset classes, by products. That's where the complication comes in. And I over and over again, I hear people make biased claims to fit the narrative that they just need to work because it's associated with their identity. And that's one of the most dangerous things, is to associate your investment strategy with your identity, because that's one of the hardest things to separate at that point. So I don't know, David, was that too harsh?
No. I mean, well, we need to take our medicine. You just gave it to us.
These are hard to swallow pills.
Yes.
And I'll even brag on myself. We have a proprietary model. It's proprietary because I'm not going to share it with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it also requires a lot of effort. It's not perfect. It has risk. It can lose money in years where there's whipsaw, where the markets go down and then up directly, really, really quick, or they're going up and then they just sharply go down. There's those really quick changes. This model's going to stink. So it's not proprietary and perfect. It's proprietary because we don't just give you the algorithm. And even if we did just give you the algorithm, you wouldn't have the computing power or the capacity to maintain it because it requires hours of work every single day to do. And it's a very complicated situation. That's why people hire us, is because they believe in a model, a system that they want to follow,
right,
that seeks efficiencies within the market. But yeah, we call it proprietary just because we don't share our Coke formula, but we also admit it's not perfect. I believe it has more upside potential than just buying your generic stock bond fund portfolio, which is why we implement it. I don't care. I want to do what's right, what has the best upside for the risk that's associated with it. So that's why we use the model. It's not associated with my identity. We can build a plan around something else, but these are things that just, it's people want the exception and they're looking for the insatiable, perfect solution. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the sooner people realize that, the better off I think they'll be, because they'll have more healthy expectations. They'll have a healthier portfolio. And I think with that kind of clarity, that healing that I think all people have to go through, that they'll have a healthier life, less stress, less financial stress, and so on. So anyway, let's give away some free stuff.
Okay, here we are.
All right. So this is only for the podcast listeners. And we have a radio show, but we're not sharing this with the radio show. This is only for those who are listening to the podcast. If you text the word book, BOOK, right now, and it's you or any of your friends, you can share the secret to anyone. Text 913-363-1234 by the end of the year 2024. So we have a limit to this. But if you text the word book, we'll give you a free digital copy of my book, How to Retire on Time.
Okay.
You don't need to pay $20 on Amazon or $10 for the ebook or any of that. During the Christmas season, so until the end of the year, if you text book to 913-363-1234, it's not automated as of right now. Maybe we'll automate it in a moment, but we'll text you a link. We'll just say, hey, we need your email. We'll get some basic information, but then we'll send you a digital copy of the book, PDF.
Love it.
Okay. No strings attached to it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter what's going on. If you text it to us and you provide your name and email, we're going to give you a free copy of the book, How to Retire on Time, which really dives into the cognitive distortions, the oversimplified plans, ways to hedge against it, different market patterns. You need to be aware of all of that. So you can grab that copy for free, or tell your friends to text the keyword book to 913-363-1234. And if it's texted by the end of the year, then we'll give you a free copy. And we'll also give you the bonuses too. The workbook, the 12 mistakes retirees make kind of digital course, the video course. You'll get access to our calculator. It's a basic calculator, but it kind of gives you an idea to implement everything and so on. So anyway, text book right now. And here's the big one. Many people do not have their legacy plan in order. Okay, They don't have an updated will or an updated trust. Many people don't have the financial power of attorney. So if you lose your ability, someone else can handle your finances for you, or your medical directive, your healthcare directive. These are things that you probably want to get in order. If you haven't updated it in the last 2-3 years, it may be out of date. So we pay a pretty expensive subscription annually to wealth.com to give to our clients so they have access to this software. We're not attorneys, but you can go in there, create an account. If we invite you to it, it doesn't cost you anything. And you can go in and create your own estate documents. And it doesn't cost you anything, and you have the access for life. And you can update it each year, new grandkid, new something like that. You can update and maintain it, and it's official once you then notarize it, right? But an estate plan costs a lot of money.
I think I still need to do this.
Please do.
I'll do it before the end of the year.
Yeah, but you've got access to it.
I don't know. I've just been sitting there and I've done nothing all these months.
But the estate plan's for when the unexpected happens. So if you text the word legacy, 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 to 913-363-1234, we will send you a link so that you can create your free account. We pay for it.
Yeah.
But for our podcast listeners, we want to just celebrate our 100th episode. You will be able to create an account with wealth.com, which you can't get on your own, and create an entire estate plan on your own. Now, there are limitations to this, right? If you get really custom, if you have businesses and all sorts of very complicated things that need to happen, maybe it's not a fit for you. But if you're like most people, you've got assets that you want to make sure go to the kids and maybe some charity. You've got some family heirlooms you want to make sure go to the right places. I would say, and this is my guess, but like 80% of people, this is a great fit. And we're going to give it away for free right now. So text legacy to 913-363-1234 by the end of the year. Tell your friends if they can text too if they want.
Yeah.
We just need your name and email, and then we can send it to you. This offer, though, is not available to residents of Missouri.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's the only state we cannot send this to. Everyone else in the country, all 50 states, I guess 49 states.
Yeah.
So everyone but Missouri can get access to this through wealth.com, and we can get your estate in order. And it's a perfect time, too. It's the holiday season.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not going to live here forever. What do you want? Is there any family heirlooms that you want to make sure get passed to the right people and all that? But get your affairs in order, because no one knows what the future has in store, and anything can happen. So text Legacy to 913-363-1234. And if you text it by the end of the year, we'll give you access to our estate planning software. You just go through the motions, and there you go. Now, that's all the time we've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed our show, our 100th episode. If you enjoy the show, make sure you consider leaving a rating. So those ratings do help us, by the way, on Apple Podcast or on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy what we're doing here, leave your rating. Tell a friend. We appreciate it. Just make sure you subscribe to the show, How to Retire on Time, which you're obviously listening to right now, as in this podcast exclusive episode. Lastly, did you know that you can also stream this show? So if maybe you're not sure what episode you really want, but you just want to turn it on, you can just go to www.retireontimeradio, or www.retireontimeradio.com, and just stream various episodes. It's just kind of a random library of episodes. Tap in, enjoy it on your phone while you're on the go. But seriously, from everyone here at Kedrick, we really appreciate you spending your time, your most precious asset, with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.